already exist and they already have that need for what you're selling. You just have to get to them.
I'd like to introduce you to Brette Hawks of the Out of Home Baker. Brette is a mom and cake designer who has set out to be the ultimate resource for starting and growing a home-based cake business. Her goal is to see you grow your business, get the clients you want, make a real income baking, and love the work that you do. Sounds great. She's a great follow on Instagram too, if you don't follow her already, at the.outofhome.baker. And she's just an all around great human. So Brette, I will pass it over to you and I will let you take it from here.
My name is Brette. I'm the Out of Home Baker. 3 years ago, I officially started my own cake business from home. I was a stay-at-home mom and I had a passion for making cakes. I had a passion for running a business. I knew nothing about how to do it. I didn't know anything about legals. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about pricing. But I started and I figured things out as I went. And I share that so you know, I literally stood where you stand. Wherever you are in your journey, I've been there. And I've been able to grow my own wedding cake business to an Instagram following of 14,000 followers, which is great, but even better, a full-time income that has provided for my family, that has allowed us to buy our first home, even in the crazy market that we live in. It allows me to do the work I love at home, being with my kids. And it's not perfect. Of course it's not, but it's the funnest adventure that I've ever been on. And I love every moment of it. And I'm here to help you guys on your own journeys. And like Emily said, be the resource I wish I'd had. So I want to start off. I want you guys to open up your chat. I want you to open the chat. And on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least, 5 being the most, I want you to tell me where your confidence level is in your business. From 1 to 5, how are you feeling in your business? Ooh, got some 5s, 3, 4, 6. Oh, I saw a 6 in there. That's awesome. Oh, you guys are great. You guys are great. We're all over the place. And everybody's at a different point. Everybody's at a different point of where you are. I'm going to tell you what my confidence level was in my business about 2 weeks ago. Big fat 0. And I want to tell you that because I want you to know that even someone who's been doing this for a long time, even someone who's had success, everybody you see on Instagram, everybody you follow who you just admire, they blow your mind. They have weeks where confidence is at level 0. And I want to just draw back the curtain and help you realize that that's okay. You don't have to be at a 5 all the time, because guess what? You're a human. You're a human who is not only running a business, but also living a life, raising a family, being a friend, a spouse, a mom, a dad. And it's just not even realistic to expect to be at level 5 all the time, because part of our human experience, part of our growing in our business is having those down moments, because that's what allows us to stop, take care of ourselves, reevaluate, pivot, go in a new direction. That's what actually allows us to learn. And it's a beautiful part of business. And so I want you to know that if you're not way up at a 6, like some of you rock stars were, that's okay. That's okay. It's never a sign that you need to quit. It's never a sign that you're not where you need to be. It's a sign that it's time to just stop and live in this present moment and figure out, okay, which way do I need to go now? Do I need to take a break? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to try something new? But I love that having those weeks, as hard as they are, and you guys have been there, you know what that's like when you've been running, and then you have that week where your confidence just tanks and you don't know why. You can't explain it. It is literally your body, your beautiful, amazing human mind and body calling you to just be present in this moment and then to find your way forward from there. So I want you to know that. I want you to know, as we open up this discussion and this whole summit about growth and about confidence and about selling and meeting your goals, that having those low times is part of the journey. And it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you're far behind. It means you're just like everybody else in this awesome, amazing, like, world that we're living in, and we need each other. That's why we're here at the summit, because when your confidence, when your energy is low, you get to draw on other people. That's why you're here today, is to just enjoy this amazing container that Cast Iron's created. Hundreds of bakers, all at different levels, and we all get to support each other. We all get to give each other the rah-rah that we need to keep going. That is why we're here, and I'm so excited for it. So now I want you to drop in the chat, what is holding you back most in your business? For those of you who are like way up here, what roadblocks are you running into? For those of you who are feeling down here in your confidence, what do you feel like is your biggest roadblock to moving forward? When you're having those struggle days, what do you feel like you're missing? What do you feel like you don't have that's keeping you from moving forward? Time, money, not knowing the next step, funds, marketing, fear. Yeah, that's a big one. Money. If we all just had the money, right? If we all could just have those things, right? Okay. Those are all fantastic answers. And I'm going to tell you right now that none of them are the right answer. None of them are the right answer. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Harvard Business School, we know who Harvard Business School is, right? You hear Harvard, like, you automatically understand that we're talking like high level research, smarts, just intelligence. Harvard Business School, right? They did a study where they took people, they surveyed all these people, and they asked them, what is keeping you from reaching your dreams? You've got this goal, you've got this thing you just really, really want to get to, but what's holding you back? And people said the same answers that you guys did. Time, money, sleep. If I could just eat better, if I could just, do all these things, if I just had all these resources, I would get that goal so fast, nothing would hold me back. And so they said, great. And they put all these people in a study and said, you need time? Here you go. We'll take care of it. You got all the time in the world. Go ahead and do your thing. You need money? Here you go. Here's everything that you need. Here's all the money that you need. Go ahead. Do your thing. You need sleep? We will make sure. Here's a bed. Like, we will make sure you get all the sleep that you need. And they gave all of these people everything that they thought they needed in order to reach their goals and to reach their dreams. Well, they come back at the end of the study, and guess what? Nobody had been able to accomplish what they said they would, even though they had everything that they thought that they needed. And as they did this study, as they surveyed these people and got their feedback and really like cracked into this, what's actually going on here, they found that it wasn't time, it wasn't money, it wasn't sleep. What people needed to actually accomplish their goals and their dreams was energy. It was all about energy. It was all about holding this space in your mind where you actually believed that you could reach the goals that you had. And it was the energy that actually made people take those steps forward to do what they needed to do, to figure out the things that seemed unconquerable. It was energy. And it was all about the mind. How crazy is that? Type a 1 in the chat if you think that does that just blow your mind? Energy, that's what does the work. So everything you feel like is in your way right now, whether it's licensing, whether it's money, whether it's getting more customers, I want to tell you, we live in a world where all the resources are available to you. There's blogs, there's YouTube, there's courses, there's books, there's summits like this, and like 99% of them are free. And then when you're ready to invest in bigger resources, they're waiting for you. And why don't we do it? Everything's right there. Everything you need to know, the customers are right there. You don't have to invent them. The customers you need already exist, and they already have that need for what you're selling. You don't have to make them up. You don't have to create them out of nothing. You just have to get to them. And what does that take? It takes the energy of just moving forward, the belief that it is possible. Step number 1 to success is just having that belief that you're going to be able to do it, that you're going to be able to get to the other side, that it's possible. And too often we play our own worst advocate. And we're back there in the back of our mind telling ourselves, you can't do it. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to show up like this? And you're already so far behind. You don't even have 1,000 followers yet. You haven't even booked your calendar out, and they're all doing it. Like, and that is self-sabotaging. And someone like me shows up and tells you, like, no, let's do this. Let's get you customers. Let's market. Let's work on it every single day. And you're like, but this, like, I just don't know about this. And I just don't think I'm there yet. And you play your own worst advocate all the time, telling you why it's not possible. We need to switch that. We need to step into a place and come to a higher level of thinking, a higher level of mindset, because everything you do in business and life starts right here. Your thoughts become your feelings become your words and your actions and your words become your reality. And that determines whether you succeed or not, whether you actually build this life that you want to live, build this business that you want to live. It all starts here. So how do it, easier said than done, how do we even do that? And I told you myself last week, I was at level 0. I had one of those weeks where that energy, that mindset just wasn't there, because we're human. So how do we bring ourselves back into that? How do we find that confidence to keep taking steps in our business? I want to tell you how I busted out of that, just like mind junk clutter that was all in my brain for the past 2 weeks. And I got an order. So I moved this summer. I started this whole cake business, had this whole beautiful journey, and then we moved. And even though I'm still close enough that I could keep running it, it's far enough that it's a struggle. And I also see it as this opportunity to start from scratch, to learn, to grow, and to build a whole new business. So that's what I'm doing. I've started a whole new cake business from scratch, new Instagram, new website, new shop with cast iron, everything is new. And as I've been starting, I've been like, I'm in the trenches again. I'm going through this all again, feeling what it feels like to start over again. And then I got my first order. And you know how I got it? It wasn't from Instagram. It wasn't even from my website. It was literally because I made a phone call. And I called my local library who was putting on an event, and I asked, like, hey, could I have a booth at this? Could I sponsor it? And somehow, like, could I just be a part of this? And they were like, oh, sure. But you can't bring any food because, we're trying not to mess up the space. And the only place we can have food is the refreshments that we're having as people walk out. And I said, well, let me do that. I was like, I can do that. I could make the refreshments, whatever you need. I'll make them and then I can hand them out at the end. And the librarian said, that would be awesome. That would mean I don't have to go to the grocery store. You would just take care of that for me. Like, yes. And I was all like, yeah, no, I'll just donate them, because I was going to market here anyways. I wanted to make samples anyways. I'll just donate them. And she was like, don't even worry about that, honey. Like, I have money for this. I will pay you for this. And done, booked. First order in a new town with a new business. She didn't ask me for my portfolio. She didn't ask me for how long I'd been working. She just booked me. And why? Because I solved a problem for her. Here she is putting on this whole event, and the last priority is like, the refreshments. I'm going to have to drive to the store. I'm going to have to bring all these in. I'm going to have to package it, unbox them. Like, I'm going to have to figure all of these out. And I come along and I say, hi, I will take that for you. And she's willing to pay for it because it's this trade of energy. When she gives me that money, it gives me the energy so that I can show up 100%, and she can save her energy for running this event. And that's what happened. And boom, confidence up. And it's not because I made money, because I won't make money on this. I'm buying business cards and a sign. It's not about that. What happened is there was a trade-off. There was a problem solved. There was a need that I get to serve. And suddenly selling becomes fun. Selling is fun when you stop making it about yourself. Selling is the worst when you feel like you're tricking people in to buying your stuff, because all you can think about is you, why you need the money, why you want the orders, why you want the customers, why you're building the business. And you focus it, and we can't help it, right? We all go into business because of our own needs, our own drive that's moving us forward. But why we stay in business is when we serve our customers. And why people buy from us actually has nothing to do with us. It's all about the problems that we're solving for them. And when we get that, when we shift, and it's not about us anymore, it's not about like, oh, I'm asking you to pay me because I need this. It's like, you want me 100%. I'm there for you, sister. I will do this cake. I will make sure it's all taken care of. There's a cost for that, but you pay me and it's done, taken care of. That's when selling is fun, because you get to show up 100% and create this experience for somebody with your food that reminds them that life is good, that we can connect, we can celebrate, we can have joy and just savor the moment. That's what our food does for people. We're not curing cancer, but sometimes I feel like in a way we are. Sometimes I feel like in a way we are truly solving this very deep problem people have, where life is wake up, go to work, repeat. Like it's just blah. And we get to create something that's elevated for people. That's the problem that we solve. And that is when selling is fun. When we focus on that experience that we create, when we switch our thinking that business, it's not about us, it's about these people and what they receive on the other end. And what has to happen to make that, what has to happen to fuel all of that is a monetary transaction. Because if you don't charge enough, if you don't sell, you don't get to show up 100%. You show up stressed and frustrated and worked down to the wire because the energy trade-off wasn't there. The money did not equal the value. And so the more that you sell, the more that you charge, the more that you're paid, the more that you get to show up and do what you're meant to do. Do your thing, which actually enlightens the world and uplifts people. It sounds silly, but it's totally true. It's absolutely 100% true. That's what happens. There are people out there that have needs. And when you sell, you get to serve them in the best way that you know how, in the best way possible. And that's what you give. That's what you give to everybody. Type a 1 if you're feeling that. Type a 1 in the chat if you're feeling good about that. Nice. You guys, that's it. That's what it is. So as you listen to all the sessions today, and as you work on your business, as you wake up every day and do small things to make that progress, I want you to remember that you're here to serve, and that when you get paid, you get to serve 100%. You get to give your all. And that's what truly serves people, is when you are there 100%, not 50%, not 25, but you're paid enough that you can show up and do it right, do it good. This summer, I did my most expensive wedding cake ever. It was $1,600. $1,600. It was paid in full before I ever even baked a cake layer, paid in full. And you know, that bride, she texted me the very next day and she said, "Thank you so much. That cake was perfect. It's just what we wanted. We will remember it forever." She said, "We ate every slice." It was a 4-tier cake. We ate every single slice of that cake. We didn't even use the boxes that you brought. And what allowed me to do that cake, to make a 4-tier cake, drive it 2 hours, take it up a ski lift to the top of a mountain where they were having their wedding, the fact that I got paid. I was able to create that moment, that memory for her. If it had been any less, I would not have been able to show up 100%. That is why selling is fun, my friends. It's all about serving. When you charge, you actually do serve. It's not about you. It's not about begging for money. It's not about tricking people. When you upsell, if you're like, "Oh, I think you should do a bigger cake," and for you, you're like, "Because I want to charge you more." No. That's not what it's about. You're like, "I see your need, and as an expert, I'm telling you, you need more servings, because otherwise you might end up in a pinch. And I don't want that to come back on me. I'm here to do my absolute best for you. And so I'm telling you this, you need more servings." I'm selling you this because it's your need and I'm here to meet your need. That's what it's all about. You guys, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for all the growth this year. I want you to remember, as we've just started a new year, as we've just started this new year, and you've got goals you want to meet, and you start off and you're like, yes, 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 and then you hit those lows. I want you to remember something, that every single day is your new year. Every single day is 365 days until that day next year. So every day you wake up is a new year to start over. You don't lose it, you don't miss out, you don't miss your chance. You don't ever truly miss your goal until you stop working towards it. It's always progress, it's always learning, it's always gathering and experimenting and getting bits of information, tweaking, learning, growing every single day. That's what this is about. I want to take any questions that you have. I see someone asked, do I have a commercial kitchen in my house? No, I don't. I don't have a commercial kitchen. I work under cottage food law, and most of you know a little bit about what that is. Cottage food law is different in every single state, and it allows home bakers to bake and sell from home. And the laws are different in every single state. And so you have to know what the laws in your state are. And once you do, you can slowly start checking the boxes to be able to do that. And some states are more restrictive than others. Here in Utah, we actually have some pretty good laws that let us do it. So I don't have to have a commercial kitchen, but I do work out of my home, and I do have like a separate fridge and separation. If you want to learn more about cottage food, it's always a vague topic to understand what is legally required to sell from home. But you can figure it out just like I did, just like all the bakers did. And I actually wrote a whole book about it, about all the legals involved to help you understand, how to cover all your bases. So if you want to check that out, it's called Baking by the Rules. Oh, thank you, Cassie. She says it's amazing. It is. It's a great book because it's everything I wish I'd known when I had started. It took me years to figure out cottage food, taxes, insurance, business registration. All of it is so vague. And part of that is because every state is different. So I wrote this book to speak to any baker in the United States, to walk you through those bases step by step by step, so you understand how it all connects and you understand where to start. So if you want to check that out, it's called Baking by the Rules. You can find it on my website. If you go to theoutofhomebaker.com, it's there under the resources. So, and thank you guys for all of the amazing feedback on it. I'm so glad it's been helpful. It really, just to clear up the fog, just to help you even know what step one is. Okay, let me switch to the questions. Teresa, I hope I said that right. Teresa, she asked, how do I put myself out there more? I'm going to turn the question on you because I think you know it. If you were to wake up tomorrow and do one thing to get yourself out there tomorrow, what could you do? Think about it. What could you do? You could message a party planner. You could message a venue. You could message a local store. You could start networking. You could put business cards somewhere. You could make a few posts on all your Instagram pages. You could join a mailing list with someone, and you could have someone join your mailing list to get out there. And this is the fun part, because it's the fun part where you get to connect, you get to make friends, you get to support other people in their journey, and they in return support you and give that back to you. And you get to be creative. Like literally there's thousands of ways you could get yourself out there. And it really, really what this question is about is, how do I overcome the fear of just putting myself out there? Because I think you could probably think, if you sat down and made a list, you could think of 100 ways tomorrow that you could get your name out there, that you could, there's hundreds of ways. But what stops you, it goes back. A return, is it actually going to bring customers? Is it going to be scary talking to someone? And that's what really holds us back from doing those things that we could do to put yourselves out there. Remember my first order, I made a phone call. I made a phone call to the library who just happened to be doing an event. And I said, hey, can I be a part of this? Know what's going on in your community. Be a part of your community. Go meet people, go connect, go support. That's one of the best things that you can do. That's one of the best things you can do to get yourself out there, is just being a part of your community. But overcoming the fear, remembering that you're here to serve. And anytime you hold back because of imposter syndrome, it's actually just your ego getting in the way. It's just your own pride, fear of failure, fear of, what are they going to think? When you put that aside and you just say, no, I need to go out there because I have something to give, because there are people with needs who I can serve. Remember, that's what this is about. And when you think like that, then you can connect, you can show up, you can have those conversations, you can put yourself out there, because it's not about you anymore. So think of something, Teresa and everyone, what's one thing you could do tomorrow? What's one simple thing you could do tomorrow to get your name out there? It doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be hard, just something simple. Okay. All right, I'm trying to keep up with all the questions. Lindsay says, how do you decide what local events, markets would be beneficial to your business? It's so hard to gauge whether my home bakery would be fitting and actually be worth the time to the time lead to customer orders. So when you're deciding whether something is the right investment for you, there's two things you want to think about. You want to think about will this actually result in customers, right? And so if you're thinking about going to a market or an event, the first thing you want to do is know what kinds of people are showing up at that event. And you want to know who your target customer is. The very first market I ever participated in was a farmer's market at our local university. And our local university is where students get engaged and they get married all the freaking time. That's where all the couples were. And so when I first started my business, the very first thing I did was I went to this farmer's market that was at the university. It was the only way as an outside vendor I was able to come to the university and be seen and distribute my stuff. And I booked several orders from that market because I knew I was at a market where my target customer was going to be. And I went to that market knowing that it wasn't about selling the cupcakes. That's like a lucky side thing I get to do to offset the cost of being at the market. But the whole point of being there was to book orders on the spot. People came up and said, oh, we're getting engaged. We'd love you to do our cake. I'm like, great, write down your email. I'm going to email you. We're going to have a conversation. We're not going to let this stop right here. We're going to book this cake now, today, or tomorrow. We're going to keep talking. And that was the point of being at the market. I also did a market where I did not do any research on who was going to be there. And it ended up being quite a flop of a market because I was just so excited to be there and to bring all my cookies and do this market that I didn't really think about what my purpose was there. So when you're going to do a market or event, think about what's your purpose, who are you trying to reach, and does that event line up with those things? And go knowing that markets are really not truly about making it rich by selling at a market. It's about marketing. It's about connecting with other people there. And sometimes those other people might even be other vendors. Even though that one market I did where I sold cookies was a total flop and I didn't connect with any customers, I did make friends with the owner of the market who owned a little shop with kitchens in the back. And I've ended up teaching classes there. I ended up getting my first gig on TV because I connected with that lady. She knew someone who ran a local channel who needed a baker guest, and she recommended me. And so that connection has actually ended up being a pivotal connection. So when you go to a market, remember it's about connecting. It's about what's coming after that. It's not necessarily about making a ton of money selling whatever you bring. That's the lucky thing that happens to offset your marketing costs at a market. Hopefully that answers your question and gives you some good food for thought. Someone asked how to stand out as your own brand when you're located inside a coffee shop. Some good ground rules to set up before they launch in June. If you're selling at someone else's venue, I think you would want to know that this is like a test. It's a validation of your product, right? You're putting it on someone else's shelves before you invest in your own space, or before you buy your own storefront, or take it a step forward. This is like your test, right? And so there's lots of things maybe you won't be able to control, but I would definitely put good energy into building a brand that's recognizable, that speaks to your customer. And brand is so much more than just a logo, right? Brand is, it's your name, it's the message that you're putting out there, it's the colors, the feelings and emotions that your product evokes. All of that is your brand. And so I would sit down and really figure out, you have to know who your target customer is. When someone comes into that coffee shop, like, how are they lining up with your message and what you're trying to do as a business? Are they? Because if they're not, then maybe the coffee shop's not the right spot. But if they are, then great. The right people are coming in, they're connecting with your product. And the step number 2 is to build a brand that focuses on that customer. A lot of times when we go to brand as home bakers, as home businesses, food entrepreneurs, we're so focused on why we're in business, what we like, what colors we like, what logo we like, what message is important to us. And we build our brand around that, forgetting that every time a customer buys, it's about them. It's about their story. And we're just the guide. They're the hero of the story. We're the guide who comes in and helps them win the day. So everything about your branding, your story is important. Your own story as a founder is important, but everything about your branding should really focus back on your customer. We as humans filter things out all day long. We are in survival mode. Our brain is attuned to filter out anything that doesn't mean something to us and our own survival and our own well-being. And so when people see your brand, if it doesn't connect with them, if it doesn't seem relevant to them, then they filter it out. They won't remember it. But if it's pointed right at them, and if it means something to them and their story, they will remember it. They will want it. Like, they will understand why it's a part of their journey. Does that make sense? It takes brainstorming, researching, validating, meaning you're talking to people, you're getting feedback, getting out of your own head as you're branding and as you're building your business, and you're tweaking. And it's okay if you change things along the way to fine tune things to fit your customer and what they're looking for. That's my 2 cents on branding. Patricia says, what do you think is the best way for many people to know about your business? Okay, this is a trick question because the answer is going to be different for all of you. We've been having a discussion about your target customer. They determine where you market your business. Your target customer does. It's not just a one size fits all, like everyone should have a website, everyone should run an Instagram or a TikTok. You need to know who they are. If you're doing wedding cakes, or if you're doing vegan sweets, right? Let's say you do vegan cake pops or something like that. You need to know, who are those vegans that you're trying to reach? Do they live in this city? Are they concentrated there? Do they go to school? Are they this age? Are they male, female? Like, all of that plays a role into knowing where you're going to market. And it's funny because I saw this. My little sister started a vegan treats business, and she was constantly taking her products to markets where it reached everybody. It wasn't a specific health food place. It wasn't a specific like vegan market or vegan place. And she was testing her product with a lot of people who weren't vegan, they saw vegan and it scared them. Even though oh my gosh, her pumpkin bread was amazing. It didn't even matter that it was vegan. But she was constantly marketing in places that didn't connect with her target customer. And so there was a disconnect there. So if you want to know where to market, figure out who your target customer is. Where are they? Where do they hang out? My brides, they're not on Facebook. So I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook marketing because my people are on Instagram. And that might change as people age and as this new generation comes in. Maybe they're going to be on TikTok, or maybe a whole new platform that I don't even know about yet. And so my job is to know who I'm talking to, where they are, and meet them there, right? Okay. Annie asks, How would you identify client needs if you don't feel like wedding cakes is your thing? How do you highlight and market how you meet this need and provide a worthwhile service? The best way, I think, is to put yourself in the shoes of your customer, even if it's not wedding cakes, even if it's a birthday cake. Think about that. Think about yourself when you try to throw a birthday party and you're going crazy. You've got so many things to figure out, to plan. And so let's say you're a cake maker. If you can solve the problem of, I make ordering so freaking easy. We don't have to go back and forth. I've got such a good process that we can have it booked in minutes.
I did
See
see
if
a
I can get it
question
back.
about how you like specific marketing tactics that have worked for you to reach those attendees. I know you mentioned like showing up at farmers markets and things like that.
Yeah.
Any other things that have worked for
Yeah.
you in terms of that?
Yeah. I will end with this question. And then if anybody else has questions, please feel free to connect with me on the Out of Home Baker. A lot of your answers you might find on my feed already or within the courses and the resources that I have. But I'm also happy to answer in the DMs there. So make sure you reach out to me. As far as things that have worked for me, I'll tell you what's worked for me and I'll tell you why. The main places where I get orders are from my website and from Instagram. And the reason why is because marketing, when you go to market your business, you really have two objectives: discoverability and clarity. You want people to be able to discover you. And it sounds crazy, but the number one reason why you're probably not getting orders is people just don't know about you. And so when you go to market your business, it's about picking the right channels, the right avenues that are going to reach the right people. And you don't have to do all of them, but you can, do a small, diverse few. Pick the ones that are going to work best and reach your people that you enjoy being on the most, to actually reach people. Because if people don't know about you, they can't order from you. So actively be marketing, actively be making yourself discoverable. Do the right things so that people can find you. In like the physical world, that's leaving business cards or advertisements and flyers or something that they can see and connect with your business. In the digital world, it's all about SEO, search engine optimization. When someone searches cakes near me in Instagram or on Google or wherever, you have to be able to come up. If they search for it on Facebook, it's all about networking. It's all about those customers who had such a good experience with you that they're going to refer you and they're going to keep referring you. So make yourself discoverable. And then second, clarity. Clarity in your marketing. People have to know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you serve, where you are. If someone gets to your Instagram page and they can't tell in 1 second what you sell, where you are, and how to order, you're losing customers. So wherever you're marketing, you make it as clear as possible. You have to spoon feed them the steps of like, oh, you found me. This is what I do. Now here's step 1. Click here to order, and make it as easy as possible. That's what marketing is all about: being found and being so clear that there's not a doubt in their mind. They can order from you so easily. So for me, it came down to running a really good Instagram page, and that's where I poured my time, and a website. Those are my two biggest funnels for orders. But now in my new place, in my new city where I am, I have a hunch that it's different. It's very small. It's a small town. It's like the Wild West too. It's like Cowboyville. And I know that Instagram is not going to be the place. And really, it's going to rely a lot on just being a part of the community and networking. It's a totally different marketing strategy than I've ever used. And it's because I'm starting to understand more about my people that I'm trying to serve. So it changes depending on who you're trying to reach. But discoverability and clarity, that's what you're going for with your marketing. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you felt the excitement. I hope you feel the possibility. And as we've answered questions, I hope you can shift into this idea of, okay, yeah, I can do that. It's not like, oh, but that's going to be hard. That's scary. No, we're changing our mind. We're changing the way we think about this. We are creative. We are smart. We are passionate. We're going to figure this out. You guys are going to figure it out. You're going to jump every single hurdle. And I'm so excited for you. So stay tuned, join all the rest of the sessions today if you can live, and if you can't, come back to them because there's going to be some amazing information shared. And then find me on Instagram, connect with me. I'd love to stay up to date on everything you're doing. Thank you so much, everybody.